Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are opening up a file that it creates a very specific kind of silence. You know what I mean?
I do.
It's that quiet you get when you ask a question that hits just a little too close to home. We're looking at a topic that sits right in the middle of modern life, especially if you're, say, a high achiever or someone grinding it out in a high-pressure job.
Right. It's that space where you might look in the mirror on a Tuesday morning, maybe after a client dinner or just a stressful Monday and think, am I doing this too much?
Yeah.
But then you look at your life, your job, your house, everything seems fine on paper. So you just, dismiss it.
You push it down and go to work. Exactly. So we aren't talking about rock bottom today, not the movie version of a crisis intervention. We're talking about something much more common and way harder to pin down.
And there's a term for it. The research we're looking at today calls it gray area drinking.
Gray area drinking.
It's a really necessary concept, honestly. For so long, we've had this binary. Either you're perfectly fine or you're a capital A alcoholic. But reality is almost never that black and white.
So to help us navigate this, we're digging into a ton of research and clinical data from New Life Recovery Centers. They're based in San Jose, California, and this year, 2026, is actually their 22nd year in operation.
That's a long time.
It's huge. And think about the location, Silicon Valley. That's 2 decades of data from one of the most high-performance, high-stress environments on the planet.
It gives them a really unique insight. They're not just looking at stats, they're looking at real people, executives, engineers, parents, all trying to balance success with this nagging feeling that their relationship with alcohol is off.
Okay, so here's our mission for this deep dive. First, we're going to unpack the science, specifically the biology of why drinking feels so different in your 30s and 40s. Then we'll look at the solutions that exist now, especially for people in Northern California.
But let's start with that term, because gray area drinking. It sounds intentionally vague.
It does. What is it exactly?
Well, that's the point. It's not a formal diagnosis. Think of it like a spectrum. On one end, you have social low-risk drinking. On the far other end, severe alcohol use disorder.
Okay.
The gray area is that massive stretch of road in between. It's where you're drinking enough to impact your health, mentally or physically, but not enough to, set off all the societal alarm bells.
So your life hasn't fallen apart?
Not at all. And the persona that New Life highlights here is so interesting. It's not the stereotype. We're talking about the pillars of the community. C-suite execs, lawyers, really involved parents, people who are hyper-competent.
The people who seem to have it all together. From the outside, all the lights are green.
Exactly. But the internal data points are flashing red. It's that internal friction. It's the anxiety.
Oh, that's a great word for it.
Waking up at 3 a.m., heart racing, replaying some dumb conversation from 3 years ago. It's the brain fog you fight with coffee. It's that negotiation you have with yourself at 4 p.m. Okay, just one tonight.
And 1 becomes 3.
And that negotiation is it's exhausting. It takes up so much mental space. And the research here points to a really specific time frame for when this tends to spike, late 30s, early 40s.
Is that just career stress? Or is something else going on?
It's a perfect storm, but the biology is undeniable. And it's the part we usually ignore. The notes we have reference Dr. Meena Malhotra, who breaks this down perfectly. As we age, our body composition literally changes.
This was the aha moment for me. It's not just in your head. Your actual hardware is different.
It is. 2 huge things happen. First, your liver enzymes, the ones that break down alcohol, they slow down. They just aren't as efficient as they were when you were 22.
So it takes longer to clear the toxin?
Right. But second, and this is the one people forget, your total body water decreases.
Total body water. What does that mean?
Okay, so muscle holds water, fat doesn't. As we age, we naturally lose some muscle mass. Less water in your body means there's less liquid to dilute the alcohol you drink.
So you're telling me if I drink the exact same glass of wine at 45 that I did at 25, the concentration of alcohol hitting my brain is actually higher?
Precisely. You are physiologically getting more drunk on the same amount and for longer.
Yeah.
So you wake up with that 2-day hangover and think, what is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. You're just operating a different machine now.
Operating a different machine.
Yeah.
I like that framing. It takes the morality out of it and puts it back into mechanics.
It does.
Okay, but let's talk numbers. Because too much feels so subjective. What does the data say is actually risky?
This is where it gets confronting. We're looking at the 2026 guidelines from the NIAAA, the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. And they have drawn some very sharp lines.
All right, lay it on us.
For men, The limit is no more than 4 drinks in a single day and no more than 14 in a week.
14 a week, so 2 a night.
And for women, because of those physiological differences, the limit is lower. No more than 3 drinks in a day and no more than 7 per week.
Wait, 7 a week?
Coven.
Wow, so if you go to dinner on Friday and have, say, 3 glasses of wine, you've used up almost half your weekly limit right there.
You have. And the CDC takes it even further. They define heavy drinking as 8 or more drinks a week for women and 15 or more for men. And binge drinking, it's just 4 drinks for a woman or 5 for a man on one occasion.
I feel like if you polled the average brunch spot in San Jose on a Sunday, half the people there would technically be binge drinking.
You're not wrong. The stats back that up. 57.9 million Americans reported binge drinking in the past month. But here's the key. 29.5 million have a diagnosable alcohol use disorder. That leaves this huge gap.
A gap of almost 28 million people.
Yep, who are binge drinking, risking their health, but they don't meet the clinical criteria for what we call addiction.
That's the gray area, a population the size of Texas, basically, walking around thinking they're fine because they're not bad enough yet.
Exactly, and they're the ones most likely to fly completely under the radar.
Well, let's talk about why. Because if you have, I don't know, a bad knee, you go to the doctor, you don't wait until you literally can't walk. But with this, people wait years.
It's that identity crisis again. If the only solution you've ever heard of is rehab, and you think rehab is for alcoholics, and you don't think you're an alcoholic,
then you assume there's no solution for you.
right, I'm not that, so I don't need help. And for the kind of people New Life often sees, tech execs, business owners, there's a huge fear of stigma. In Silicon Valley, your reputation is everything.
And the source material brought up a great point about geography, too. It's not just the cities. Think about rural Northern California, Redding, Eureka.
That's a different kind of pressure. In a small town, you have zero anonymity. If your truck is parked outside the local treatment center, the whole town knows by lunch.
So you have the CEO who's afraid of being seen, and the rancher who's afraid of gossip. Same result.
Silence. And they wait. They wait for the crisis.
Okay, this brings us to the solution. So, New Life Recovery Centers. They've been around since 2004. They're CIRF accredited, legit script certified. They're the real deal. But what I found so smart about their model is that it's not one size fits all. They have a whole spectrum of care.
That is the key. You have to match the intervention to the severity of the problem. So yeah, let's break down what those levels actually are.
Let's do it. Start with the most intensive.
Okay, so first you have alcohol and drug detox. This is purely medical. It's for safety. If someone is physically dependent, stopping cold turkey can be really dangerous. This is medical supervision to get the substance out of your system safely.
Got it. Medical baseline. What's next?
Then there's residential treatment. This is what most people think of as rehab. You're living at the facility. It's a total reset, away from all your daily triggers and stress.
But for a gray area friend, the person who's still working still has to pick up the kids. Those options might feel impossible.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which is why they develop these other levels. There's a PHP, or partial hospitalization program. Think of it as day treatment. You go during the day like it's your job, but you go home at night.
Okay. And even less intensive than that.
You have the IOP Flex. It stands for San Jose FLEX Scheduling Intensive Outpatient Program. It's designed for people with jobs. You can get real clinical support in the evenings or on a flexible schedule.
But the one that really jumped out at me, the one that feels built for right now and for this specific problem, is the Virtual IOP.
This is the game changer. It really is.
Before we dig into why that's such a game changer, I just want to make sure people know how to even start this process, because just knowing the number can be the first step.
Good point.
If you want to figure out which of these levels is right for you, you can call New Life Recovery Centers. The number is 408-297-1182.
And it's a free, totally confidential consultation. You're not signing up for anything. You're just asking questions. And they handle the insurance verification, which is a huge deal. They take most major insurance, PPOs, unions, EAPs.
That insurance piece is massive. People just assume this will cost a fortune, but it's often covered like any other health issue.
It usually is. And having them navigate that for you when you're already stressed is, well, it's a relief.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's deep dive into this Virtual IOP. Why is this the killer app for the gray area drinker?
It knocks down the 3 biggest barriers all at once: time, geography, and privacy.
Let's start with privacy. That seems to be the biggest one.
With a Virtual IOP, there is no waiting room. There's no parking lot. You are logging in on a secure telehealth link from your home office, your bedroom, wherever. No one has to know where you are or what you're doing.
So that person in Eureka or Ukiah suddenly has access to top-tier care without a 4-hour drive.
It completely erases the geographic penalty.
Yeah.
And for the exec in San Jose, it means they can get help without anyone in their professional life ever knowing.
But is it as effective? I think some people are skeptical about Zoom therapy.
The data says it is, especially for this group. The curriculum is the same as their in-person IOP. You're still getting group therapy, individual counseling, learning stress management, and because it actually fits into your life, you're way more likely to stick with it.
It provides structure without being destructive to your life.
That's a great way to put it. You keep your job, you're home for dinner, but you're still doing the work, usually 3 times a week.
I want to talk about the philosophy behind it. The notes mentioned exploration, not labels. That feels like a direct answer to the identity crisis.
It is. The old model was, step 1, admit you're an alcoholic. For a gray area drinker, that's often a wall they just can't get over. So they walk away.
This gives them a different way in.
A totally different entry point. You don't have to adopt a label. You just have to be willing to examine the relationship you have with alcohol.
So it shifts from what's wrong with me to why am I doing this?
Exactly. It's like data collection on yourself. What's the trigger? Is it stress? Is it boredom? And the goal isn't always total abstinence from day one either. It meets you where you are.
That is so refreshing. It's framing this as health optimization. It's like getting a personal trainer for your habits.
That's the perfect analogy. We don't wait for a heart attack to start exercising. This is preventative maintenance for your life.
It's catching the slide before it becomes a crash.
Yes. And if we can catch people in that gray area, the outcomes are so much better. It is infinitely easier to change a habit than it is to rebuild a shattered life.
And this is available anywhere in California.
Anywhere in the state. From the Oregon border down to San Diego, if you're in California, you're in range.
We've covered so much, from liver enzymes to telehealth, but I keep coming back to that initial feeling, that quiet wondering.
The isolation of it, thinking you're the only one who's holding it all together on the outside while you're just scrambling on the inside. But the numbers show millions of people are in that exact boat.
I circled a quote from the source material. I think it sums this all up. It said, "Sometimes the gray area is simply the place where healthier choices begin."
That's beautiful. It reframes the confusion as potential. The gray area doesn't have to be this purgatory where you just wait to get worse. It can be the pivot point.
So the takeaway here is, if you've been listening and nodding along, if you've ever asked yourself, why can't I just cut back? That question matters, and you don't need a catastrophe to start looking for an answer.
You really don't.
Yeah.
And you don't have to figure it out alone.
If you want to have that conversation professionally, confidentially, and with zero judgment, reach out to New Life Recovery Centers. They can walk you through detox, residential, or just get you set up with that virtual IOP. The number again for that free consultation is 408-297-1182.
That's 408-297-1182. Let them handle the insurance part. That's what they do.
408-297-1182.
You know, before we go, can I leave the listener with one last thought?
Please.
We're so obsessed with identity, with labels. I am this, I am not that. We think we need to perfectly label a problem before we can fix it. But in behavioral health, so often, the action has to come before the understanding.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you don't need to know if you're an alcoholic to know you want to feel better. Sometimes you have to take the step, make the call, join the group to figure out who you are. The healing reveals the identity, not the other way around.
That's a powerful thought. Don't wait for the label, just look for the solution.
Precisely.
Thank you all for listening to this deep dive. Take care of your health, take care of your mind, and we'll see you next time.